Welcome back. Now we're in the final mission. Finally! Mission 7, Operation Resurrection, Part 3, Heinrich. The mission description is the same, but our mission objective has changed. Destroy Heinrich the First. Sounds simple enough. So, rather than going up the castle and back to our own prison area, we just pass by the bottom layer of the castle to get to a nearby ritual site. This site is very strange. Honestly, I can't make any much sense of it. What confused me is that Heinrich the First was at Castle Wolfenstein this whole time. We had zombies coming out of the catacombs in Wolfburg from simply disturbing the area, but Wolfenstein Castle was untouched until they started the ceremony. What I like is that we get to go back to where we started. Everything goes full circle. Heinrich is imprisoned for 1,000 years in his castle, and he's defeated in his castle. He tries to rule the world with dark magic, but he is defeated from failed dark magic and the sheer force of technological advancement. Ironically, this tech being from Nazi development, having the Nazis ruin their own plans in more ways than one. BJ was imprisoned in Wolfenstein Castle, and now he frees the world and himself at Wolfenstein Castle. A big thing about the ending is that it ties to Ragnarok in many ways. The Battle of Ragnarok sparks the end of the old world to create a new one. When this happens, it is a battle of the gods versus the forces of chaos, with chaos led by Loki and the fire giant Surt. The warriors in Valhalla fight for Odin, alongside the gods. The forces of chaos include things like frost giants and Draug. Here it's the zombies. Now, in Ragnarok, the gods are fated to die and succumb to chaos for the new world to be created. Here we have BJ being a warrior of Valhalla, not quite a god, but more like an agent of the gods. It's actually hard to tell if this game is meant to be related to Christianity or Norse paganism, but we can at least say it ties the two together very well, similar to how Max Payne did. We have to remember that Christianity under Charlemagne took out most of the Norse traditions, but also mixed a lot of them, which is why German culture was so different from both French and British culture. The location of Valhalla is meant to be a subunit of Asgard, where human heroes stick around and celebrate before Ragnarok. Despite the game treating BJ as unique, he's theoretically not supposed to be, similar to how the original Doom guy was just an ordinary space marine. Heroes are supposed to be the peak of humanity, and only partially deified, which is why so many Greek heroes were demigods. Actually, I think all of them were. I don't know of one who wasn't related to a god. In Norse mythology, we had some heroes like Sigurd, who was a dragon slayer, and he was also a descendant of Odin. In this game, we have the speculation that BJ is related to Simon the Wanderer, who was a Christian monk, meaning there is something magical in a biblical sense, which would make BJ a bit more like Beowulf. Or, at the very least, Simon is Beowulf and BJ is more like Wiglaf. You see, Beowulf fought 3 monsters: Grendel, Grendel's mother, and a dragon. Grendel was a giant. Grendel's mother was a witch, and the dragon attacks his Geat kingdom due to gold being stolen from its burial mound. We can kind of make a connection to this burial mound, to this ritual site, and how the Nazis stole the gold from everything, to have BJ also take the gold from the Nazis. But the idea is that Beowulf fights the dragon, succumbs to his wounds, and gives his title of king to Wiglaf, who was one of his trusted companions and a distant cousin. An interesting thing to note is that Wiglaf was the only follower to stay around and fight the dragon alongside Beowulf, while everyone else ran away. The only 2 people to fight Heinrich the First and survive are Simon and BJ. I like to view this as Simon holding a legacy of king, to then give the title to BJ, with BJ unaware of the title being transferred to him. Simon did the work of weakening Heinrich I by imprisoning him and having his power drained for 1,000 years, to then have a failed ritual have him come back with less power, to then have modern tech tear apart his earthly form, But to be very clear, Beowulf is not a Norse story. Rather, it's a Germanic story that holds more with Christianity, which is why Grendel is a descendant of Cain. Combining these things with alchemy is just distilling the basic tropes to appeal to whatever monomyth it's trying to go for. So, we do have a hero's journey here with BJ. He has a journey, he gets gifts from the goddess in the form of weapons in the failed ritual, and he technically rejects the call in the beginning when he escapes from Wolfenstein. In short, what I'm trying to say is that BJ is a hero in Valhalla, with Valhalla being World War II, and he's proving his worth as a great hero by defeating a false god, showing that he's ready to take on the title that Simon created as one who protects the world. So this is the last level, and we're gonna fight Heinrich I to save the world. I might be making this sound way more epic than it is, but that's why it's good to see the mythological inspirations to understand why this ending is so epic. We're at some half-broken ritual place. So that's Madame Blavatsky, who we've never seen before until now. There's one of the super soldiers. There's a second one. These are supposed to be the Dark Knights, I believe. I think it's dawn or something. It was night when we got here. And there's a third one. In comes one of the Viking guys. So she summoned all these zombies, but where is Heinrich? Ah, here he comes, being summoned like Donnie Mose.
What? I live again.
Yes, yes.
He read the line with the wrong tone.
Yes, it is true.
Who are you?
My question as well.
I serve you, my dark master.
Nobody calls me Dark Mustard. Little Evil Dead scream. And now she has more clothes?
Much to attend to.
All ancient?
But I sense the presence of another.
What's that moon in the background? So he said an other, and he means a BJ? But what does he mean by another? We'll never know. So this is going to be the hardest boss battle so far. Thankfully we are given a whole bunch of ammo, and a whole bunch of health. What is this one? Tesla gun, in case we didn't pick it up for whatever reason. I think I'll just start with... I honestly don't know what to start with. Explosives, maybe? 48 for the MP40. That's all ammo for the Venom gun. Just pick it up already. Alright, so this is all these lights pointing down here, guiding us through what I believe is a well. From the castle into the dig site. Very reminiscent of when we fought Ulach. Ooh, I did not notice this until now. This is actually a replica of the burial site. And they have these weird Stonehenge things. And this is a three-pronged overarching thing. What is he even supposed to be trying to be? Looks like a person bending forward. But this means that the site was made after the castle. Maybe by Ulrich? So we have 100 health. I'm gonna try to snipe him from here. I think they take damage as long as the shield is down. It's much better to get rid of them before Heinrich does his ground pounds. And ghosts start swirling like turds in the toilet. Nobody died yet. Wonderful. Good thing we had the Tesla. I awakened them a lot then. Even the flamethrower worked. So let's get rid of Beowulf. Finally. So killing her makes this mission way more easier. She's actually the main reason why I kept dying on normal mode, because she was a source of a million different ghosts. And if she keeps throwing out ghosts at you, then you're gonna constantly die and be blinded. But the dying part sucks more. So we're gonna circle around. We're gonna scout around. I don't have— oh no! Oh. Okay, that's just not fair. So see that? Off in the distance, there was a ghost. I don't think I showed what the bigger ghosts do, but I don't want to. You can get the idea. It's like the smaller screaming faces, but more blinding and more deadly. So let's use up our grenades and take him out in chunks. You know, I just realized we don't have the Panzerfaust. Probably for good reason. That's one of his armors. Oh no, my grenade! Phew, that was close. He runs way too fast. Okay, this gun is way better than the grenades. So I'm not being attacked by as many ghosts as I was before. That's way easier. We can ignore those guys. Ooh, got hit by the rubble. He's getting stunned, he's getting naked, we're good. So getting hit by the rubble sucks. Thankfully, we have more health here. Oh no, I used one. So if you stop moving anywhere, he will summon something if you're too far away, I believe. Gotta get rid of all of his armor. And I don't want to shoot with the Vikings around. The bullets will reflect. Which is pretty smart as a concept. A bullet sponge surrounded by reflective shields. It really does make you think twice. And I'm almost out of ammo with everything. This one? Oh, and he's dead. Congratulations to me! Ugh. There's a lot of rocks in his head. His ears were clogged from him being underground for so long. Oh, there's Himmler.
This American. He has ruined everything.
Herr Himmler, the plane is waiting to take you back to Berlin.
Time to go fast and furious.
Sir, the Führer is expecting your arrival.
Yeah.
Well, that didn't feel very triumphant, did it? It was pretty engaging, but a little bit lame. Let's see the ending. You know, all these briefings happen so we can get like one single joke at the end.
Come in.
Ah, more things to say that mean nothing to the story. And suddenly I'm Irish instead of English.
You wanted to see me, sir?
I just finished reading the last of the reports. It's still hard to believe.
Why, did you get BJ's cock size at the top of each page?
We can close the book on Operation Resurrection, wouldn't you agree?
Yes, sir.
Jack, I think that Agent Blazkowicz deserves a medal for what he did, but seeing how this mission never officially existed...
I'm sure he understands, sir.
Well, I hope at least he's enjoying some well-deserved time off.
Oh, yes. He's off on a little R&R as we speak.
Ah, excellent, excellent. Anything special?
Vacation's all I ever wanted. Vacation had to get away. Vacation had to be spent alone. Well, that's the end of the game. I actually don't know what to say about it. I mean, it's great. It's one of my favorite games. Definitely highly recommended, and definitely better than any of the reboots that have been made. As you can see from this playthrough, Return to Castle Wolfenstein was definitely the highlight of the entire series. Even with all the bugs, even with all the things being weird due to it being 2001, the game had the most atmosphere. It had the most understanding when it came down to what Wolfenstein was meant to be. It was a spy-fi game combined with weird fiction to make weird war spy-fi that had a single protagonist going through a journey from the very depths of hell in a prison to return to what was his own prison to then find the true enemy who has been resurrected from their prison to essentially defeat what seems to be a symbolic representation of what the Gnostics believe is the true god, which would be the false god. Not that he's a creator, not that he is somebody who symbolic of what we can find as Satan himself, or at least some form of Satan that BJ has to annihilate. Not just imprison, because in the past, Simon the Wanderer tried to imprison him due to his magic being too powerful. But then, thanks to technology from modernism, and also the inhuman desires coming from the Nazi regime, Heinrich I ends up destroyed due to his resurrection. His resurrection destroys him because he's evil. He used dark magic. The dark magic is the magic of destruction that causes his own destruction, his own demise. And BJ, staying pure and staying human, moving towards the goals of being more human, ends up victorious, and he does it all even without wanting to get a medal. He just wanted to have rest and recuperation, which ends up being him going back into battle, fighting more, being the true warrior, being the true god of war. If I had to give this game a rating, I'd give it a, I want to say 10 out of 10. I really would. But some little things here and there did annoy me. There were some kind of issues when it came down to level designs. Some levels were also a bit too short. The replayability is a bit hindered by this, because there are some parts where you're like, oh, this mission, especially the forest, you're like, oh, this mission, why'd I go over this? But maybe I could just even it out into a 9.5 out of 10. It is more than worthy of Game of the Year. This was impressive. Even though the game didn't have much going on in the technological advancements department, you know, it's a dumb engine from the 2000s. Medal of Honor was using it too. But so many great things like destructible environments, and we had sounds that could travel around in your headphones, in your speaker, letting you know if something's closer or further away. I did not expect that. These are sounds that we were not expecting back then. We were not expecting sounds to get closer and further, especially since it was so limited back then. But there was an inspiration from games like Thief, The Dark Project. And that was a great inspiration that made this game one of the better stealth games, even though most of the game is not about stealth. And in the reboots, we don't have any of this. We don't have sounds getting better using the sounds of the enemy in order to get behind them, keeping track of where the enemies are walking. That's almost not really It's just like you just don't care. But in this game, they almost make you forced to do it half the time because the enemies are so powerful against you. And you also have your stealth guns, you have your stealth pistol, you have a stealth sniper rifle that has very limited ammo so you don't abuse it. And it's also with night vision, which you end up actually having to use because there's an actual mission where it's nighttime. Splitting the game up into 3 acts was marvelous. I didn't even notice that when I first played the game. You have magic being shown in the beginning to dunk us into this area of zombies and all the fantastic stuff. And then the second act is all this sci-fi that we were supposed to be afraid of because you mess up and the whole world gets destroyed. You know, England gets knocked out by a whole bunch of chemical weapons. And then in the third part, it's like, well, now we're going to be combining this magic and this technology to make it even bigger threat. You're like, wow, the stakes are being risen. I'm actually at the edge of my seat the entire time. And even if Heinrich I is a dumb villain by the end of it, very weak and almost meaningless, it's still a great boss battle. You can kind of see what they were going for. Because his power is not in his own physical prowess. It's what Heinrich I would do if he gets to join forces with Himmler and Death's Head and all these other crazy scientists, because he had the power of magic, and he turns the sorceress that summoned him, Madame Blavatsky, he turns her into this zombie. He zombifies her after she was alive. So he has power to zombify people and just have them join their army. But BJ Blazkowicz was immune to it because there's a speculation that BJ was related to Simon the Wanderer. But honestly, who knows? Well, because this doesn't actually have an ending through the credits, this is where we bid adieu. Till next time.